Rock bouncers. They're high horsepower, big tired tube chassis machines that are hugely popular in the Southeast. They're known as hill killers down there. They climb ultra steep climbs and they bounce their way up to the top. Dave and I have never built a rock bouncer, we've never driven a rock bouncer, but we are going to Alabama with this truck after we turn it into a budget rock bouncer. To the shop, Dave. Shop's that way. We're gonna start with just tearing the truck apart. We gotta get rid of everything we don't need. So all the glasses gotta go, doors are gonna go, we're gonna delete the front fenders, and then once we have things off of it, like the fuel tank so we don't catch it on fire, maybe the transfer case because it's got a slip yoke rear. What do you think?
It's pretty comfy.
Once we get all that stuff out, then we can start rebuilding the truck. Shortening it, stretching it, and any of those things that we have time to do.
That went better than expected the next day.
Yesterday we cut a really nice Ram V10 truck in half. We're really getting good at cutting things in half.
Too common.
So today we're gonna put it back together. We're gonna start by welding the frame back together so that we can actually move it around in the shop. The entire roll cage, we have 10 sticks of tubing outside to bend up and paint a day glow color.
And we don't have any space to do any of it. So what we're gonna do is start bending up the rock sliders, or the boat sides. We got a bunch of 1 3/4 120 mild steel because we went super cheap on this build. We didn't buy chromoly like race cars use. We didn't even buy DOM like regular, like high quality rock buggies use. We bought mild steel, hot rolled electric welded. We got 200 feet of this mild steel that we're gonna put on this truck. I'm gonna bend it with the JD squared bender here. We got a swag hydraulic attachment for it. It works really well. We're gonna do like double B pillars. They'll be leaned back a little bit like so.
Why are we doing double B pillars?
Because rock bouncers all have double B pillars. That's what they do.
All right.
Partly because they know they're gonna roll typically, so they wanna be safe. So the roll cages are kind of over the top.
So I'm only using an 8-gallon fuel cell on the rock bouncer. Seems like a lot of the rock bouncer guys run really small fuel cells. And this thing had a giant fuel tank on it before, but we don't need that. Most of the obstacles that the guys do are pretty steep climbs. In fact, the park we're going to is where a lot of the rock bouncing started. So we may need to run back and forth to fuel up more if we're gonna run all day, but I have a feeling we're gonna be out there for a few hours and then break the car in half. How's it going, Dave?
Good, Fred.
Guess what?
What?
The truck that's coming to haul this to Alabama is literally an hour down the road.
I got like 140 feet of tube out there still.
Well, we're gonna ship the whole pile to Alabama and we'll finish it there.
I like Alabama. Let me finish a couple things.
Okay, tack it in place. We'll burn it in Alabama.
Everybody's standing around looking at us like this is the last time they're gonna see us.
Oh, what's that noise?
All right, Fred. Overdrive off?
I think so.
Something doesn't feel right in that transfer case.
No, it's fine.
All right.
Ready?
Yep, give it hell. Right there.
I got it.
Yeah, right there. right there. We love steering, I think.
I think we broke it. This is a 1986 Toyota pickup truck that when I moved to California to go to work for the Off-Road magazine, like 16 years ago, I drove this thing here. And it didn't look like this. It was a bone stock Toyota pickup truck that was super rusty and had a 22 RE 4-cylinder engine. Over the years, it's turned into a massive rock crawler. It's got 1-ton axles under it, multiple transfer cases, and under the hood, a 3RZ. The 3RZ is the Toyota Tacoma 4-cylinder engine. May not seem like much to the hot rod guys out there, but to a rock crawler, this is a great engine. It's got plenty of torque, it's fuel injected, it'll practically run upside down. It makes 100 horsepower to the rear wheels. 100! Here's the plan. The plan is super simple. This engine that I put in here, I never actually got it smog legal in the state of California. So I gotta take it to smog. Then we gotta get it street legal. Because if we're driving outside of the state or in the state or anywhere where the highway patrol might see us, they're gonna pull us over because our tires stick out so far. So it's gotta be street legal. Then we're gonna hit every type of dirt.
We got this big fire ring that I'm gonna cut in half to try and make some fenders for the back of this. So these will kind of mount up here and cover the top of the tire because California gets kind of sticky about that. Big rig mud flaps on the back, big old honking metal thing covering the top, and then we'll figure out the front later. Fred's working on some turn signals. I think this thing, it's actually got all the stock wiring together. It's just all the lenses were busted out. So hopefully we'll be peeling out in no time.
So the front of Clampy has a worn 9.5 XP, and recently I scavenged the rope off of it for some other project. So I have a piece of Master Pull Superline XD, super heavy duty stuff, but still lightweight. I've been saving this for a special occasion or just the right truck, and I have Clampy, so I'm gonna put it on that instead.
One of them's done-ish. It comes off real easy. For quick access for rock crawling, you throw that in the bushes, and you go rock crawling, and then you get back, and you throw it on there real quick and easy because of the design. Boom, legal. You've probably heard us talk about rock crawlers, and some guys use like a square tube drive shaft because in a lease front end, you gotta have a lot of slip on it. This is like the next step up from the square tube drive shaft. This is a coarse line long travel, and it's actually made for like a farm implement. So it's strong and you get a ton of slip out of it, but they don't work very well on the highway. So I just welded the bracket on the frame. We're gonna bolt this up there so that when we're driving down the highway, it's not spinning. We have drive flanges on the axles, and so they're always turning. But when we do a selectable hub, we'll be able to hook this back up and drive down the highway. Let's go up that.
That looks like it's been done.
Yep, lock that thing up. Man, this one looks like a lot of people have tried and not a lot have got over it. That's cool. Yeah, it's gonna start climbing. You probably kind of just have to keep at it. There it is. All right, Fred, where do you put your hands in a rollover?
Just do this. I get the feeling like Clampy wants to go over there.
We'll be back. Steep rock. What were you thinking trying to drive up that?
I thought I had the help of my best friend and confidant, but nope.
That wasn't there for you?
No, I could tell your mojo was
What about that one? You got that one?
Are we going this way or that way? You can go this way.
You're the greatest rock crawling Toyota of all time. You can go wherever you want.
The world is my oyster. Meow, 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 meow.
Do you think that in 1970 or whatever, when Dana was like, we're gonna build this Dana 60 Someday some dude's gonna
Stuff it in.
put it in a little Toyota and let her eat. There we go, that's a good one there. Do-do-do-do, we're down in a hole. Do-do-do-do, a hole. Feels good. Yeah.
On this dirt every day, we took a two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, Rad 4, and made it into the raddest little rock crawler.
Let me do it again.
Two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, Rad 4, and made it into the raddest little rock crawler. Front-wheel drive, Rad 4, and made it into the raddest little rock crawler. Front-wheel drive, Rad 4, and made it into the raddest little rock crawler.
Dang it!
To the whiteboard. What color do you want, Dave?
Green.
How about pink?
I'll take pink.
I'll take blue.
The most important part of this job, the name. You're drawing animals.
Here's a kitten. So the engine turns this way,
Forward.
and that if we're putting solid axles under it.
Yeah,
So we need to use the front axle shafts as the drive shafts.
correct.
So we got to make sure the axle shaft's turning this way,
Transfer into the car going forward and frontward gears.
otherwise we'll have a really fast car in reverse.
Yeah. You've got a transaxle on the front wheel drive cars. It's a transmission and basically a rear axle. And the rear axle component is going to in turn be the transfer case when it's four-wheel drive, because then it's going to have axles out from there.
So this is your front wheel drive engine transaxle with axle shafts down to each tire.
Yes.
So we got to figure out the rotation of the axles, weld up the transaxle, and pull it all out and put it in the passenger seat.
Correct.
Up. I say we cut this dash in half, get everything from this side that's plastic out of here, and then you have all that room to work around. And if there's a tube behind there, you can build right off of it.
We did a rough cut first to kind of get an idea of what we were going to do, and this should be our final cut. Get this kind of squared up, and we'll put a square tube cross member in front and back, and that'll give us something to build off of for the motor and suspension.
You know what they say,
There's no turning back now.
you can't make an omelet without cheese and onions and spinach and bacon. Dave, I cut that piece of metal you needed.
Thanks, buddy.
This here's
The front cross member thingy thing.
made out of free-range steel. This isn't like farm-raised steel. This is free-range. This is wild steel. So it'll basically, we're kind of adding a beefier substructure to this unibody. That'll give us a point where the suspension mounts can run off of, and also the engine can be mounted to.
We're trying to use the stock mounts, and they're all in weird places on these front-wheel drive motors. It's not like a small block Chevy where you just have like the two basic ones off the side. If we use the factory mounts, every one of them's a little bit different, so it makes kind of tricky mounting for everything.
We talked to the guys at BDS Suspension. They make suspension kits for a lot of different vehicles. We decided to go with a Jeep XJ front suspension, but we're actually using two of their front suspensions under the Rad 4, one in the front, one in the rear. And we are going to modify it slightly to make their 4-link work under this vehicle. We're not using Jeep axles, so the brackets on the Toyota Land Cruiser axles had to all be cut off. We're putting new brackets on from Barnes 4-wheel drive. And then we have a cross member. So there's going to be a lot of modifications, but off the shelf, this would be a great lift kit if you were building an XJ. This is the silliest thing we've ever done. Yeah! Yeah! Whoa! All right, so you see how there's rocks and then there's like gnarly climbs and then more rocks?
Yeah.
That's what you built this thing for.
All right.
As a passenger, I'll just hang out here in the back. I can see all the tires turning and the drive shaft spinning. kind of feel like you didn't think a lot about passenger comfort.
I don't think that I thought much about anybody's comfort. I don't think
I
it
can
really
see rocks
allowed-
through the floor. I think you got it. Oh, it's going. Climb, little car. Rock crawl. There's that skid plate.
Wiggle around a lot.
I'm wiggling. I'm wiggling around a lot. Are we getting anywhere, or am I just getting seasick?
I think you gotta push. Give me a push.
Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, you're way up in the air.